Yes.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Power Hour. This week, we're going to be talking about the 2024 Mr. Olympia. We know exactly now who's in the show, who's out. Before we get started, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it on your platforms, ring that notification bell, do all that good stuff. And now, my co-host with the most from all the way across the pond, as we call it, Giles Tiger Thomas. Hey, Giles. What's up, man? So, yeah, can you hear me okay?
Hey, Ron. Sorry, I'm a little bit. Yeah, I can hit. Well, it's a little bit delayed, but it'll settle. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, but yeah, like things obviously with the tours and everything else, it's kind of all exploded a little bit, as you can imagine. But because the thing is, I don't have a strict 9 to 5, and it's just one of those things where every day is different. Every day is. In fact, last night, remember last week I said I was going up to see Branch and Michael from Gasp and all the crew, Anth Bales at his gym, and I messaged Michael in the morning saying I'm coming, and then Lauren said she was coming as well, so we had all our gym gear on and our Gasp stuff on, and we got 30 minutes up the road, and I was literally like, I could feel myself. I mean, even driving up my lane, leaving the house, I was literally like, swerving, and it kind of freaks Lauren out because she's a very nervous driver and she's an even more nervous passenger. So I got to 30 minutes and I just like turn around. I'm going home. So turn around, got home, and I literally just like sort of crawled into the room, went into bed, and I thought, I said, Lauren, just let me just make sure the cats don't disturb me. I said, but I need a little bit of time just to come and pull myself around. Thinking it'd be a 20, 30-minute nap. 4.5 hours later, 8:30, I woke up and it was dark in the room. And when you're disorientated. So, yeah, it's clear I needed the sleep. So this is something I'm going to be very mindful of over the next couple of months because it's September, October, November, even December are going to be crazy months for me. And then I've got my surgery. So, yeah, I need to be on form. I had an interesting talk with Ronnie about all this actually the night as well. So, so I'm very mindful because at the end of the day, I've got to pull all these things off, or I'm in the shit.
All right. We'll talk about the tour a little bit later. Let's get into it. So, who's in the show? We obviously know these two guys are going to be there. These are the past two Olympia champions. I was actually talking to Jay Cutler. That's on this channel. That's going to post before this. So, I would actually love to see these two just trade wins over and over again for years and years, or couple of years. I think that'd be more exciting than one guy winning even 2, 3, 4 times in a row. From a fan's perspective, Giles, would you rather see that, or would you rather see one of these guys just keep collecting wins?
Well, I've said it before. I would love to see. Certainly how things are at the moment with a lot of. There's kind of no like Ronnies or Dorians to kind of just, it's almost like a foregone conclusion they're going to win unless they mess up or unless they're on the tail end of their career. But I'd love to see what happened from 79 to 84. 79 Frank Zane, 80 Arnold Schwarzenegger, 81 Franco Columbu, 82 Chris Dickerson, 83 Samir Banu, 84 Lee Haney. And I kind of would like to see like a few different winners, because the top 6 now, there's so little in it. It's like, I mean, I don't think I can ever recall changing my mind so much. Like almost every week, my whole top 6 is literally shuffling around every week for the last 6 to 8 months at least. I mean, I'll be honest, this week I'm on the Derek train. I think I've got him as the front runner for the Olympia this year, obviously be Mr. Olympia. But it literally can only be what you see. Well, basically all we've got to look on is social media, but sometimes, just a feeling and just an instinct of put it in my mouth. What does that say? So I just saw something really weird there on this put it in my mouth. I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah, that was recommended video.
Yeah, it distracted me a little bit. But yeah, so sorry, what was the question again? I forgot the question.
Well, we're talking about
trading wins. Yeah, I would actually, because it's kind of the same with the 212. Like Keon and Sean Clarida for me are, I could see them going back and forth just like Derek and Hadi. But personally, like I know we're all everyone's kind of just that's the top 2. But you know what? Like what's to say that Samson or Andrew Jack or Nick Walker couldn't split that top 2 up? I mean, it's that's what I'm saying. There's no clear winner. I mean, like there was to me, like I wasn't shocked. I was kind of 60-40 last year that Hadi would win, but I wasn't. So when Derek won, I was like, oh, but I wasn't like, oh, okay, that's just, there's a huge gap between first and second here. It's because it was a flip of a coin, So trading wins, yeah, it would be kind of cool actually, because it would be nice to see Hadi get one, and then I think it adds an interesting dynamic having the same coach and stuff like that. So yeah, I think anything that adds kind of interesting storylines and that builds hype and expectation for the Olympia is always a good thing in my mind.
Right on. So yeah, we just mentioned it could be this is another guy that Samson obviously qualified. He didn't even need to compete this year, but he decided because he had that third place. So I applaud him for doing those Arnold shows early in the season. Obviously, I think the big prize money was an incentive, but Samson, third place last year, and it's gonna be a tough top 5, top 6 this year. As you know, we'll be getting more into like the prediction type of discussion later on as we get a little bit closer. But yeah, Samson looked pretty darn good, but Hadi looked just fantastic at these Arnold shows, both shows. Yeah, but you know the controversy now is, well, he's going into the Olympia.
Yes, he did. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Proceed, Giles.
No, go on. Finish what you're saying, mate.
Well,
there's a bit of delay sometimes. It's causing us to overlap a little bit. But yeah, just finish what you're saying, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say the controversy, if you want to even call it that, is that Samson is headed into the Olympia with his wife as a coach, and obviously she knows his body and everything. But these other guys have coaches like Hani Rambod and Chris Aceto and Matt Jansen. And you know, people are a little concerned for Samson. Put it that way.
Sorry, mate, you broke up a lot there. What was the gist?
I was just saying people are a little concerned for Samson just because they're not sure that Marlena is the best coach for him at this point as he's trying to become Mr. Olympia. And you know, proof is in the pudding. We'll see how he looks. We'll see if he is or not.
Well, I guess we'll see, won't we? The proof is in the pudding. But I will say, I mean, the best condition I've ever personally seen Samson in, was the Arnold UK this year. I mean, he was in really good condition for the finals, which he, you know, because thing is with Samson, if you look at what he did at the Arnold Classic last year, for me, like at the pre-judging last year when he won the Arnold Classic, I kind of had him second, third. I had it between Andrew. I had Andrew Jack winning that one, maybe him, Samson or Nick Walker in second. So it wasn't kind of like, so the top 3 was kind of really, and then the on the 9th, on the finals, the second day. I mean, like I said before, Andrew Jack actually told me in an interview. He said he was backstage on that Saturday, and he said as soon as Samson stripped off, he said I'm sure he said he went over to Samson and said, "Well, congratulations," because he said he couldn't believe how much he pulled it out the bag, and you know. Everything, you just peak beautifully, the fullness, the conditioning, you know. And I think sometimes, sometimes you can just even tell by their face, the way their cheekbones are sticking out. I mean, I used to turn up to the Grand Prix the morning of the show, waiting at the hotel, and I'd literally be writing down and memorizing who I knew would be in condition purely from their faces. Like I remember one year Kevin Navarone came in, I went, "Oh no, Kevin's not won this one. I can tell his face was too full." You know, and it becomes like a bit of a, once you see enough patterns and trends, you're able to spot who's in and, who's not in condition. Purely, you can always tell it. I mean, we used to all speculate. We used to see him at the press conference. Yeah, so-and-so's off. So-and-so, he's looking too big in his sweat, so he's not going to be in condition, But with Samson, I'll be honest. I don't know what I should say this, but I 4 weeks out, I saw a back shot, and I could clearly see that the photo had been either sharpened or filtered. Now, for me, if you're sharpening or filtering pictures at 4 weeks out, for me that is, and if that is the case, and I'm not just imagining, and other people aren't imagining it, because a lot of people mentioned it as well on the comments, then for me that is a bit of a red flag. Or it's just purely something that maybe they feel like, yeah, that's shot. I mean, or is it purely that you think, oh, well, everyone else is doing it, so we may as well do it as well. But for me, do you know what? We're just going to have to wait and see. That's part of the fun, part of the speculation that, I mean, his hamstrings, his glutes look nice. I mean, that's 4 weeks out, and he's not exactly known for being a conditioning guy. This is, so I just hope that in 4 weeks they can really, really nail it. And the thing is, also, if he does really nail it, then finally, I think hopefully then people will probably get off their back, because the thing is, it must be hard, when you're married to someone and they're your prep coach and you're reading comments, and sometimes people can be really classless. I mean, they're really shitty. And I mean, I would be, it would infuriate me. I'd literally just have to come off social media. I'd have to have somebody else go on as me, and because it would infuriate. And the thing is, you don't want that kind of stress when you're prepping. So, and if indeed, you know, it's speculated that, oh, well, she was prepping him before Milos really wasn't, which I don't believe, because you hear so many conflicting things. And to be honest, when I've spoke to Milos or any of them, I don't tend to ask. I just assume in good faith that, you know, that he was his coach and he was prepping him. And like I said, you hear so many conflicting things and so many different stories and versions. You just think, oh, well, proof is in the pudding. The good thing about bodybuilding is you can talk and you can blag and you can bullshit. But I tell you what, if you get up there and you look a certain way, people are actually eventually going to judge you only on that. So all the speculation, you know, all the comments and stuff like that, it means nothing. It just, unfortunately, it's kind of what all us fans have got to go on in the lead up, isn't it? Yeah. So fingers crossed. I hope he nails it. But for me, if we leave the top two as Derek and Hadi, then I think third is going to be another interesting, because sometimes, like, you know, with Phil and Kai or Jay and Ronnie, it was sometimes like on the posters, sometimes I used to feel bad for the other athletes, because I'd think, you know, there is other athletes in this show as well. And I know some of the athletes used to get annoyed as well. Be like, look, there are other competitors just than Phil and Kai. But for me, I feel like there's 2 or 3 competitions going on in this one, because I think third is going to be between Andrew, Jack, Nick Walker, and Samson. And it really will depend on how well of them peak, because all 3 of those guys can beat each other. You know, they have beaten each other. I feel like the most improved will be Andrew. And to be honest, I kind of am rooting, and I expect him. If I had to put a bet and I had a gun to my head, I'd say I think Andrew's going to be third this year. But I completely acknowledge that I would not be shocked, and I won't be disgusted if Nick or Samson beat him as well, because it is literally going to come down to who nails it on the day. Yeah,
and you know, yeah, I mean, even Cutler, predictions are just so meaningless, because until we see these guys on Friday night who peaked, because we never see a situation where everybody comes in 100%. It's just impossible. There's too many variables, too many things, too many different people, and food and PEDs. There's so many things that can go right and go wrong. We have to see. So, and yeah, I agree with you. Third place could go to Samson. It could go to Andrew. It could go to Nick. I mean, Nick and Samson have been third place already before. So logically, why couldn't they do it again?
Okay, then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I have to ask. Okay, then you and I, you know, kind of maybe feel like we know what we're talking about with our past record and stuff. Actually, could spoil that party out of like third, fourth, and fifth, being in that order. Those 3 guys, who do you think could gate crash that party if you had to choose?
If it wasn't one of those 3 guys, you mean? So if it wasn't one of those 3 guys.
Like who else could basically get in? Basically, if somebody else could really nail it or really sort of come up, who do you think potentially, if it was going to be anyone, who do you think could get in amongst those 3 guys?
Oh boy.
Ooh, that's it.
Maybe Martin. Yeah, I mean, Martin looks pretty damn great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Based on what, though?
Based on the fact that he improved from Detroit to New York Pro, the conditioning. He's got a very, very thick, balanced physique. He's not really missing anything. I just think he's been consistently improving. He's a dark horse. I don't think anybody right now, except for some hardcore Martin Fitzwater fans, are really thinking he could do that well. But we've both seen people just catapult forward much further ahead than anyone anticipated. So it wouldn't really shock me if that's him this year. I kind of tend to agree with you, but for me, he still has to really prove himself, because because at the end of the day, I think it's the Olympia where, like I said, if you get 7th at Olympia, people always refer to those athletes then refer to themselves as, I'm top 7 in the world, I'm top 8 in the world, top 10. So I think I feel like he did make a serious amount of improvements in the last year. In fact, I think he's probably the most improved athlete of 24. Would you say? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like in terms of actual leap forward, like kind of like what, because for really like the big story around Samson is just how much this guy was improving show to show. Like I almost felt bad for him because every single show we were kind of expecting him, to come in so improved. And for about all those from the Olympia to the Arnold, from 4th to 1st, from 6th to 3rd at the Olympia, like he was doing it. So, but then I kind of felt like, hang on, guys, I think that's why he kind of went a little bit off the rails a little bit with his attitude and something like that, because I felt you could, personally, it looked to me like the pressure was starting to get to him and the expectation. And I kind of felt bad for him because I thought, my God, that must be, and all the stuff with the coach and stuff like that. I thought that must be really, really difficult because when you got that level, there's more pressure, more expectation. And then he had going on with like I said, the improvements. And the thing is, even if he turns up as good or 1% better, fans are like, oh, he's not made any improvements. He looks exactly the same. It's like, God, like Sean Ray, everyone's like, oh, he's exactly the same. Yeah, or you could say he's as good and he's maintaining this level of excellence. He's not like you've all seen like Flex Wheeler and Kevin Navrone. They'd be like, I've seen shows where they've come like 8th at the Arnold Classic, in the year before they'd won it.
Right.
So I just so back to Martin. I'm very, very eager to see how he's gonna do at the Olympia, because I'm not saying what he did was a fluke, but I don't know. Was he up against Nick Walker at his best? Because I was really shocked at actually how well he compared with the guy that's basically been Arnold Classic winner and a top three Olympian. So I think he's got nothing to lose. Anything he does at the Olympia, whether it's top 3, top 6, top 10, even top 15, it's a kind of win for him. So he's kind of coming in really with very, very little pressure, I think. So all he has to do is turn up looking as good, even as good as he did at the New York Pro, and he's likely going to be a top 10, maybe even a top 6 guy. So, it's very exciting for Martin for the Olympia this year.
Yeah. So last week we talked about Hunter Labrada, qualified over in Italy. He's been as high as 4th. He's getting a lot of flack. I think it was mostly from the Presti fans. They were very upset that he beat Presti. But there are a couple things going on. He does have that pec tear. He does have that gastric hernia or intergastric hernia that you can see in certain shots. Abs are an issue. But he is bigger. He is coming in the condition he needed to be. I'm sure we're going to see better condition at the Olympia than what we saw there. I'm very certain Ben Chow held him back just a little bit to save that last 10% or whatever, 5% for the Olympia. So yeah, I'm glad to see him again.
Hunter, the thing is, we all kind of assuming that he's going to look better than he did at the these shows at Italy and stuff. But I've seen it where he's actually not even looked as good as he did at the qualifiers. So don't automatically assume that he was coming in at 90% deliberately for this show, because I think that Ben would have probably tried to bring him in as good as he could. Like there's no holding back or. Plus also, don't forget, he left it right to the last minute to qualify. So there was no coming in at 85, 90%, because we have seen that before with big names and they go, oh, I'll leave it to the last minute to qualify. And then they come in and they get beat by somebody that arguably isn't in their league, but just turned up in condition. But that'd be an interesting one to kind of go back and think on, But Hunter, I hate to say, I don't want to say the judges like him, because that sounds like there's favoritism. But like for Hunter, for me, he was one of the guys that really I had to see in the flesh to kind of fully appreciate, because I used to think he was really overrated. I did, and I was like, why is he getting 4th? Why is at the time I was a Nick Walker hater, and I was like, how is he beating Nick Walker? That to me is just madness at that 2020 Olympia, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but it was 8th, 4th, 7th, 6th. He's been. So I got to give him his dues. He is improving. He's made improvements. I thought his condition was really, really good. But the thing is, because if there's one area that looks washed out, like his abs did, people go, oh, he's not in condition. It's like, well, actually, he was in freaking good condition. He was pretty dry and pretty shredded. And he looked like hard, like that kind of Dorian rock hard, that like the type of muscle he has, But for me, I think he's the most likely guy to end up in 6th. But, I think it's going to be very interesting to see him going up against Martin, because actually, if I really, really think about it now, I think Martin could take him.
It's possible. It's not that's a lot of people arguing about those two guys, because Martin has the tools, so we'll see what happens. So, here's a guy I forgot about, and I feel like such a jerk because he qualified early in the season. Then he's just not very vocal on social media. He doesn't toot his own horn, as we say. But Rafael Brandao, bigger than ever, kept the lines, kept the shape that we've always loved on him, and he's headed to the Olympia again after somewhat controversial win over Tony O'Burton, who is one of the guys not going to the Olympia, even though he qualified. But Rafael, this is a guy who's been 10th place, but that was probably about 6 or 8 less pounds of muscle 22. At that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was only a few months ago we were like saying Rafael and arguing, no, we're not arguing, but we were putting it forward that Rafael definitely be a shoe-in for a top 5, top 6. But then as the season's gone on, we have kind of just ended up talking about other people because, you had Andrew Jack coming in improved, you had Hunter coming in improved, and then all the names start adding up. And then you're like, well, actually, there's going to be, we've got about guys at 6. So who's going to be in, who's going to be out? Now, with Rafael, I know he's had the baby recently, and I did hear a rumor that he was behind on his prep. But, you've got Neil. When you've got Neil Hill, you can't. I've heard it, you can be behind on your prep. But if someone like a Neil Hill knows, which is his coach, will say to him, look, okay, it's 7 weeks out. You need to be a bit further ahead. He's looking at the check-in pictures. He's probably going up to see him. And he's like, Rafael, mate, your body weight should be here by now. I should be seeing this, this, and this by now. We're going to have to ramp it up. And for 2 or 3 weeks, potentially you can, increase certain things and you can really, really suffer and get back on track. So it's not a case of, it's a done deal. He's out of the top 6, maybe even top 10, because you can, like I said, if you've got a good coach, you can pull it round. And I think if anyone's going to pull him round, it's going to be someone like a Neil Hill. So, and then I saw some pictures recently and he looked pretty much where I think he needed to be. In fact, I felt like, in terms of what I've been seeing, I felt like he was more on track than bloody Hadi and Samson. So, because I've been seeing pictures of them recently and I'm thinking 4 weeks out and the back's looking a bit soft. I'm thinking really, I mean, because at the end of the day, you and I probably experienced enough, and a lot of fans are, and a lot of kind of people who know the industry well and have been following it you kind of know where you can remember where they were 6 weeks out the year before when they prepped, and you can look at you can see the conditioning, the ones that are going under the favorable light and stuff like that. But I've got faith that Rafael will be in condition. But the thing is, even when he went to Arnold Brazil, he got worse, didn't he, than he did at the Arnold? I mean, we expect him to look better, and he kind of got worse. So I think he knows, I think he understands it because he missed the Olympia last year. And I think once you crack top 10, and then you're winning shows and making, because he had a great showing at the Arnold USA. Where did he place at Arnold, you say? Where was it, the Arnold Columbus? Where did he place there?
Fourth.
I know it's top 6. Fourth, yeah, I thought it was fourth. Yeah, so 4th place at the Arnold Classic, really, you could argue. I mean, top 3 at the Arnold is kind of where you'd think someone would be top 6 at the Olympia. Top 6 at the Arnold, you're kind of, and it's a decent line, that then they probably got the potential to be top 10 at the Olympia. That's kind of, I think that's the kind of gauge maybe subconsciously we're all working with.
I agree.
But I think with Rafael, I mean, if he shows up in the kind of condition he did at the Olympia in 22 and he took 10th, and, in the end of the day, he has put a lot of muscle on. I could see him, I think, 6th to 8th right now. I think if he nails it, if he's blown it, then I think he'll fall down to like 10th to 12th. But, or even lower, maybe, because I think this Olympia is going to be shit hot. So I would think, I think 6th to 8th, but don't be shocked if he does, because at the end of the day, he could take out, Martin. Actually, Martin could probably give him, because I think you're right. Actually, I think Martin is starting to. I think he's starting to collate in my head. I think I'm starting to work out where he kind of fits because he's got size, he's got kind of aesthetics. He wasn't that much smaller than Nick Walker, but he kind of. If you look at his actual thing is, we all judge the physique. The judges judge the physique when they hit the compulsories, and if you look at all his compulsories, his side tricep, his side chest, his rear lat spread. The only pros I don't like on him is his frontal bicep, which everyone says is amazing. I'm not keen on it. And I'm not keen on his radial bicep. For me, he lacks a bit of separation. But the lats, he hit it in front of me in Sweden back in 22 when he was training with Keon. And he was off season. And I just remember he had that, like Jean-Pierre Fuchs or Dorian, he had that extra bit of width that you just, somebody with backs physically can only go so wide. But His just went a little bit wider. It was like there's no gaps left when he hits the lat spread. It's like a whoa, everyone just kind of gasps, you know. But pardon the pun. But yeah, so sorry, I could talk about Martin again, but I'm kind of thinking this is where, you know, that probably the second call out. I feel like Martin, Hunter, and Rafael are kind of going to be the guys, and Brandon as well, because I think again we're forgetting about Brandon, you know, but he always seems to hang in there, and you know he's been second, fourth. He's won the Olympia, and yet every year. You know, we seem to forget about it. But also, sorry, stop rambling. But like with Brandon, because obviously I realize you're going to come to him soon. I kind of had a disagreement with Brandy once, and I said to him, it's because he posted something. This is 6 months or a year ago, I think. And I said, oh, so great, he's posting. I said, it's good to see. I forget what I said, but she got a bit defensive because she's like, oh, so if he's not posting, he's not relevant. And I'm like, no, but that's how the fans will see it. If you're not posting, people think you're done. Maybe think you're not competing. So what we've got to go on for news now, the magazines are gone and stuff like that. And, you know, and so much of this bloody bodybuilding media is all about who said what about so-and-so. And they're making all the hosts are making it about themselves and not the athletes. You know, sometimes all we've got to go on is what they bloody post on Instagram. Right. So, sorry, I'll let you talk.
No, you know, that's a good point because I've been checking his Instagram and I am not seeing any physique updates. There's a couple training clips where he's covered up, but that's one of two things. Either he's going to shock us all with some amazing look or he's not looking the way he wants to. It's one of those two scenarios, and I don't know which one it is.
Do you know what I'm starting to see the benefit of? I'm starting to see the benefit of, like, if we take Dorian and Ronnie as an example. You know, like Ronnie said to me, he said, I'm doing better than I've ever done, you know, financially, you know, than I was Mr. Olympia. I'm more popular now. I'm more recognized when I go out in public. And he basically credits it all to social media. Now, Ronnie probably does 10% of his own posts. The rest are all done for him. They're all, you know, all the old clips you see on Facebook from, you know, that's not Ronnie sat there editing. He's literally got a team of people that do it for him. Now, that's paying dividends for him because, like, he's now, you know, I'm finding it quite easy to put tours together, whereas 10 years ago it might not have been as easy. Dorian Yates, I mean, if we go by what he used to charge for a seminar, I won't say it, you know, out loud, but like say I remember when Ant Bales booked him and he told me what he paid to get him there, and versus now what he's charging, it's literally 10 times more, 10 times.
Wow.
You know, and he's getting it, and he's basically there's like when I took Ronnie to some places, like the queue's out the door. And it is literally, I mean, it's not like he's got more popular, he's put himself out there or he's doing anything different. It's because they've got proper social media teams now, you know, putting these TikTok videos together, putting these, you know, these podcasts and these, you know, all the filming for YouTube. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, every single day there's regular updates, all planned out. It's all, and it's because basically my point is, it's basically because they've got people doing it. I think Phil Heath needs to, honestly, there's some athletes like Brandon, Phil, you know, you knew the ones that doing their own posts, and there's not, and it's kind of like, you know, it's nice to see them, but you know, when you've got like a team of people that actually putting together, like probably planning it out days, weeks, even months in advance. Yeah. I think the investment that they'll put into it to pay for that, I've seen it with, like I said, with, Dorian, Ronnie, like I said, he admitted to himself. You know, he said, Giles, he says, this is all because, he said it in the seminar, he said, this is all because of social media. You know, he said, he said, he went into the supermarket or something, and then his little kid went to his mummy, and she goes, oh, mummy, it's the TikTok guy, you know? Wow. But isn't it great, though, the fact that social media, because we all complain about social media and how toxic and all, you know, terrible it is, you know, then you got someone like a Ronnie and like, you know, and then you see someone like Dorian, you know, clearly not just getting like a second win, but like they're like celebrities. Do you know what I mean? And it's all because they're sitting down to do podcasts. They're doing collabs. They've got somebody putting all these videos and posts together like several times a day on multiple platforms. I mean, it probably is. I mean, if you think about it, it's probably a full-time job for two people? Oh yeah. For someone like a Ronnie or a Dorian, because there's a lot of stuff they put out, man. It's and it'd be impossible for Dorian or Ronnie or any of these J Cutters or anyone to do all that. So I think, guys, make the most of social media, utilize it, make it work for you, and just invest the money. So someone like a Brandon, all I'm saying is get a student, someone who's looking to crack the industry, someone that can then use his name to get other work and it'll look good on a CV. Is that what you call it? Resume, you call it in America, don't you? Resume.
Right, resume.
Curriculum vitae, we call it. But no, I think it's it's just something I feel very strongly. It's something I've noticed by, now I'm doing tours with all these different people. It's something I've noticed, and I think it's something that all athletes need to jump on, because you might feel like, oh, I don't want to spend money and put money into this. But if you find the right people and the right team, like it'll come back 1,000%.
Yeah. So this gentleman is qualified, but I don't know if we're going to see him on stage at the Olympia. I don't know what Nathan's situation for getting a visa, but goodness gracious, this man belongs on the Olympia stage, and it's very unfortunate if another Olympia goes by without him. But I fear that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I told you the other week, I told you a few times on here that when I spoke to him, however many weeks ago it was, I forget how it came up, and I've got a message on my phone, I got on WhatsApp. And he says, no, I'm into my off season now. He says, and then he said to me, he says, the next plan is to do all 3 Arnolds.
Oh, wow.
So I'm assuming that's Arnold UK, Arnold America, and then what will be the third one?
South America.
Yeah, well, whatever the third one is, that's like several weeks after, Yeah. So, and also, I don't know, I'm not sure whether there's an Arnold UK next year, because I'm hearing things that they're, like, I'm not seeing anything come up on my feed. While by now I'm seeing plenty coming up for the Arnold America, but nothing coming up on the Arnold UK. So I hope to God we've got an Arnold UK, because I've got a lot of cool stuff planned.
Jeez, I mean, that would be awful if we don't have an Arnold UK.
I know. So anyway, sorry to interrupt. Sorry, I just want to finish off about Nathan. So basically, Nathan isn't doing the Olympia, even though he's qualified. So I don't know the situation. I mean, I keep saying I need to go over and see him one Sunday, because, like I say, he's probably an hour and 10 minutes away from me. So really, I mean, and I want to do a tour with him as well, because there's certain parts of the world he said that he's very, very popular, Asia and all these other ways. So, and thing is, I feel bad for him I feel bad for him. Piss off. I feel bad for him because, like, as an athlete, he's winning multiple pro shows. What is he up to? 12, 13 pro shows now?
I think it's 12.
I mean, he's a top 10, maybe even a top 6 guy. And I mean, we haven't seen him on the Olympia stage since 2018. So I like to do a tour with him, just so I can, get him out and about and kind of, because otherwise he's just training in Liverpool and then he's just doing these shows in Europe, which is great. But I feel like I need to make a contribution to the poor guy, because I feel bad for him not being able to get and do, the compete in the pinnacle, because we don't really. I mean, if I asked you where would you put Nathan in the world, we don't know, because he hasn't done the Olympia. The last time he did it was 8th place in the Olympia, so he's a legit top 10 guy,
Yeah, the other guy that unfortunately I believe is going to be a victim of this visa situation is Behrooz Tabani. I would love to say we're going to see him, but yeah, there's a whole post there. There was a petition and all this, and there's this whole controversy. Xavier with Desktop was trying to make a video, and Milos was very upset with the title. On and on and on. But the bottom line, all that really matters is this guy does not seem to be able to get into the United States. Doesn't have a criminal record or anything. It's just, unfortunately, where he's from, Iran, Iranian citizens have a hell of a time. Meanwhile, should I not talk about immigration and illegal immigrants to the U.S.? Probably not. But
just walk over, give you money and a phone. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
It's crazy that people are illegally entering the country, being supported by the U.S. government and the taxpayer money, while athletes just want to get over here for a week to compete, and they can't do it. What's up with that? Anyway,
I mean, we got Hadi over, so I don't understand what. I don't know. I mean, again, maybe this is something. I don't know the situation. I don't know whether he's just done a little or he's done everything. I don't know who's in his team trying to help him, because everywhere I see him at all these shows, he seems to have a big team of people and management and handlers and stuff. And I'm sure that they're working on it, because like again, like Nathan, like we can't really say where he is in the world. I mean, you could say easily, oh, he's a top 10 guy because of who he's beat in the last few shows. You can use that as a gauge. Yeah. But I think with Behrooz, because like last year, I mean, I got a lot of shit for saying he could have beaten Samson in Romania.
Right.
And Samson just took 3rd in Olympia, but I don't know whether traveling he looked tired on stage, and he wasn't. You could see his routine. he was really like, you could see he just didn't want to be there. I think he was just exhausted. And I think he probably looked in the mirror and thought, oh, shit, I'm looking nothing like I did last year, but I'm committed to the show.
Yeah.
And then I kind of said, like, remember when they moved, and if you watch on the video, when they moved Behrooz into the center, like they do a lot now with those final 2 or final 3, you could see Samson it hit him. You could see him, he physically like deflated, like, and thinking, shit, 1 minute I'm like, 3rd place at Olympia, and now I'm coming here. Probably maybe regretted maybe even doing the show. And also knowing that he wasn't at his best. But Behrooz got moved to the center, and I've actually seen some of the pictures since, and I wouldn't have argued if Behrooz had won that, And the thing is, he's even more improved since then. So really, there's a guy that was a week after the Olympia giving the 3rd placed Olympia guy hell. So, and look at he got beat by William Bonac in the Emperor when we were there. Me, AJ, and Lauren were doing the live stream.
Yeah.
And then he went on and he beat all those other guys. I mean, Bonac. Who was the other guys he beat in Dubai? I've forgotten now. My mind's gone blank. Rubiel. Who was the other one? No. Who was the other big name?
I can't remember either.
But basically, he won that show, and that was like a shit hot lineup. And basically, for argument's sake, he's someone that's probably going to be first call out at the Olympia. He's going to be. I mean, where could realistically he could be anywhere from 3rd, 4th to 8th.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he gave the 3rd place guy hell, and he arguably could have beat him. So, if that's the case, then why couldn't he be 3rd place if Samson was 3rd?
And he's pretty consistent with his conditioning. That's an interesting shot, Behrooz. He's good. He's good. He's very, like I say, he's consistent with his conditioning. He shows up. He's never really off. I'd still, physique wise, I still think he could use more quads, and do you know what? I think he could still. I think he could actually. Nobody said this, but I think he could do with a bit more chest, because his arms and his delts are very dominant in that pose. But if you look at him, I think he could do with a little bit more chest thickness. Like I said, we're getting to the top levels here, and we have to be nitpicky, because it's these tiny little things that will separate, these top 6, top 10 guys.
Right.
So I really, really despair over this. I mean, it's getting not boring, but it's getting annoying now for him. I feel bad for him, because 3rd year, like the fact that the whole, like, you can get Hadi there through really like a technicality with some employment thing with Evogen. Really, it's like a kind of bit of a loophole, bit of a grey area that they've exploited. And then you got someone like Paul Behrooz who's he's prepping. I mean, I just hope this prep doesn't go to waste, and he goes and does Romania or Prague or something like that, which I'll both be at doing commentary. So I really hope to see him there. And also I'd like to see, and also so he can, again, if he goes up against guys that do really well at the Olympia and he beats them, then again, it's kind of, it'll take away it'll add what the Olympia, not being at the Olympia, has kind of taken away, if that makes sense.
It does.
Because it's like shit, because we'll all look at the photos and say he probably would have been like when Nick Walker's like, oh, Nick Walker would have been 3rd or 4th last year if he'd have done it, because we'll all look at the pictures and look at his physique and wonder where he would have placed. And I think the same will happen with Behrooz. Like if he doesn't do the Olympia, and then at the end of it we all kind of agree that he'd have been 4th, 5th, 6th, then it's going to be good if he then goes to the post-Olympia shows and beats them.
Right. Let's move on to William Bonac, who I kind of suspected might have been retiring, but then he pops up at these shows earlier in the season, looking pretty darn great, and qualified again for the Olympia. This is a guy that's been 2nd place at the Olympia, top 5 several times, 2-time Arnold Classic champion. So he's clearly not done, even though he's getting on to the age where a lot of guys start looking for an exit strategy. But what do you think? Do you think he looked as good here as he did a few years ago?
I think he's getting better.
Wow.
Because I think as the season's gone on, I think he's got better and better. In fact, it's last week he posted a frontal bicep, and I said to him, that your frontal bicep is filling out again, because like that one to me that looks like 2017 Bonac.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, he's fuller
because he was kind of losing that V shape. His lats were starting to, and his chest were looking a bit smaller, which was kind of because that was a good shot for him. If you think about, like when he won the Arnold in 2020, 2018 he won it as well. Was it 2018 or 22? Well, he's won it twice, but he was, and then he did the Olympia, and then he got 5th, and then I think he dropped to 9th, and then we thought, okay, he's clearly done now. But now I feel like Bonac, I think this working with Stefan as well has given him another new lease of life, because I think when we came back, I thought, I just hope he turns up in condition, but realizing that maybe the physique was starting to change. And when he first came back, you could see that he wasn't, his condition was good. It was of old, but the physique wasn't quite, the thing is the only people that are going to notice that are the people like us with really good memories who were there from when he, from like 2010, 2011, from when he went from 212 to open and then just climbed. So we've kind of got those best versions of Bonac seared into our memory. Yeah. But with him, I feel like the best of his comeback is still yet to come. I think potentially we could see a version of Bonac that was better than, pre-slip, if you know what I mean. Because 2019, he was second. I think we're going to see, because I think something's really clicked with him and Stefan, and I feel like he's on a bit of a roll now. I don't think we're just going to see like a less, like, like Nasser and some of these other guys just carried on way too long. And then, occasionally they turn up in condition, and yes, the condition was good, but the physique wasn't the same. I've got a feeling like there's still, I feel like we could maybe even see him back to kind of how he was, at his peak, which is what 2017 to 2019 or 2020 Arnold Classic. Man, you interviewed him backstage. He was incredible in that show. Incredible. Oh, yeah, he was.
We got to keep moving on. There's so many guys. So we have John Jewett, who won the Vancouver Pro. He's left the 212 division behind forever. He'll never go back now. He's about 230 pounds on stage now. Oh, I forgot about Budasheim was another guy that didn't make it. Just a lot of guys that were doing multiple shows and did not get it.
Oh, the point system really going really let Tim Budasheim, didn't it? Because he probably, I don't know, I have to go back and tally it up, but there's someone who probably would have qualified if he'd had the point system in place.
Him, and I think Hassan or Beef Stew would have had a good shot too. With the point system. Yeah, we're gonna have to rip right through these because God.
Hang on. With John though, I had a bit of a disagreement because I think he could sneak in the top 10. I messaged him actually because I got his number. I think he could be. I think he could maybe sneak in the 8th to 10th range. And other people are saying, no, he's not going to beat so-and-so or Akim or these other guys. And I think it's nice to be a guy that people underrate though, because he's coming in and we're going to see a very, very new version. But I think like Bonac, I think he's going to get better as the season goes along. And I think you're going to see a better version of it at Olympia than you saw at Vancouver, because I think he's quite a smart guy with his training and his gear and his everything. I think he's someone that, I think he's not someone that will be burnt out or he's just, spinning wheels by the time he gets to Olympia. I think we're going to see a really, really fresh, really, really good version of John. And I think people, are not talking about him enough as being as a top 10 potential.
All right. Yeah. You just mentioned Akim. I had this ready to go and I almost forgot to mention him. And this is a guy that's been 6th place. And I think the version that we saw of him here at the Arnold Classic, USA and UK earlier this season, was one of the best versions in years. I think this a little more streamlined version of him, a little more conditioned. And Aceto seems to, it was the Ohio where he wasn't looking that great Friday night. And then he moved up. He sharpened up significantly in the finals. And I think he moved up 2 or 3, at least 2 placings. It might have been 3.
He did. Do you know what? Akim's another one. I don't quite know where to place him, but there's another guy that, absolutely could make top 10. I mean, like you said, he's been 6th twice. And if you remember in the 2020 Olympia, look at the top 6 when they came out at night. And side shots, he was the only one in the side chest and the side tricep that was hanging with Ramy. He's the only one. In fact, he was probably matching him on those side shots. And you know what? I think he's up there with Bonac. I think there's an argument for Bonac or for the kind of not the best, not comeback in the comeback sense that we know of, but someone that, in terms of physique, has really, really come back. Do you know what I mean? Like something maybe we didn't potentially expect. Like we expected Bonac to be a little bit less, and then they kind of come back and they're like 80% of what they were, and then it looks like they're going to be 90%, 100%. I think Akim's the same, mate. I think he's I think he really, like whatever they did at the Arnold Classic was probably some very, very clever timing with everything, with food and water and diuretics or whatever they were using, I think he was another pleasant surprise of someone that we maybe didn't expect to come back and do so well but also look as good because, he had the back injury and we'd seen a few poor showings from him and thought, okay, maybe he's on the slide. But I think, I messaged him actually, so I'm really happy for you because you think about what he went through, with the injuries and stuff like that. And maybe, there must have been days and maybe weeks, months that he thought my career is over, and then to come back and then get like fourth, was it fourth in Giles? No, Rafael got fourth.
He was fourth at the Arnold USA, and I think he was fourth in both, I believe. I think he got fourth.
No, you said Rafael was fourth.
No, I think was Rafael third. I think Rafael was third.
Shit, of course, yeah. So to come back and be top, after everything he'd been through, I mean, imagine, and think is he's a big, heavy, strong guy, so he probably wants to train heavy and strong, So for him to then, to overcome that, I mean, I'd love to maybe sit him down and maybe like proper interview and say, really try and get him to recall, because he's such a, it shows you what such mentally strong these guys are to sort of overcome that. It must have been some really, really tough days for him, especially being in pain and stuff, and you're thinking, shit, I can't even get out of bed, let alone I've got to go train and, and win bodybuilding shows. And the shoulder as well. He had the shoulder as well. So to, that's why I'm rooting for Crizzo, because he's, in a few more months, he's going to come back and he's probably going to look as good as he's ever looked. So, it takes a lot to kind of, I think it's what separates not just the good bodybuilders from the really good bodybuilders, but also human beings generally, to have that kind of mental acuity and strength to overcome that and get back on stage. And I mean, it was really mess with their heads at times, so it's so kudos to him. And like I said, it was a kind of a feel good story to see him do so well this year. So, I mean, it's one of those guys that you just you get some guys in the sport and there's literally no one is rooting against them.
That's one. Yeah. Moving on. Mohamed Foda. You've been aware of this guy for a couple of years. I'd heard the name, but it meant nothing. I had no idea who this guy was. Comes to the USA, wins a Chicago Pro. I think these guys from outside the USA who make the long trip over are doing themselves a huge service, because it won over a whole new fan base for him. He's already been tremendously popular over Europe, Middle East, places like that. But now the American fans had a really good look at this guy, and he's the real deal. I do think he needs a little more back. I'm sorry to throw that out there, but from the front, this guy is just phenomenal. I was so impressed with him.
Stick another 25 pounds on him, and that's Hadi. Isn't it? You look at him, the same structure, kind of. I mean, I'm guessing maybe he's a little bit taller than Hadi, but look at the structure, look at the muscularity. I mean, that's Hadi with it's Hadi. Well, he's not, maybe 20 pounds less. I mean, that's Hadi. I mean, it's the same mold, same sort of physique, same structure. So, I was banging on about Mohamed Foda when he was an amateur back in 2018. And it took a bit longer than I expected him for him to turn pro, given that there was people out there turning pro every weekend. But it's nice to see someone like that really finally, kind of start hitting their potential. But I think he's awesome, absolutely awesome. And I'm very excited for him. He must be really buzzing after all these years to finally be in his first Olympia.
Absolutely.
But he's cool. He's from Egypt and lives in Dubai. Not Dubai. I always get Dubai and Kuwait. Is it Dubai he's from? Yeah, Dubai. He lives in Dubai. Because I interviewed him and he was outside an internet cafe thing, and he was really, really good interview, actually. Really interesting talk we had. But he's awesome. And like I said, he's someone that's going to be coming in under the radar for the Olympia, but don't be shocked if he's like second call out and at the top end of the second call out as well, because potentially there's a guy, stick him next to Fitzwater. I mean, I don't think Fitzwater would blow him off the stage, do you? And there's a guy that we're talking about being, top six, as a shoo-in. Similar level maybe. I mean, I don't think Martin's like so much better than Mohamed Foda.
So I can't pronounce his name. It's Theo, and he's from France. The way he pronounces it doesn't even make sense to me, because what's your best pronunciation?
Leguerrier. So Leguerrier. Do you know a funny story? Can I tell you a quick funny story about Americans butchering and pronouncing things really, really badly? Yeah. Is when I was in Dallas, in Texas, for my ex's pro debut. Yeah. And we were on about we were in a taxi, and the taxi driver mentioned we somehow got onto the subject of Ireland. I don't know where. And he said, "Hey," he says, "Have you been to Ireland?" He said, "Have you ever seen a Leprachian?" And I went, "What?" And he said, "Leprachian." I said, "Well, write it down for us." So we pulled over, wrote it down. Leprechaun.
Oh, come on. Everyone knows how to say leprechaun.
Leprechaun! He obviously read it and he didn't know how to pronounce it. And he goes, man, you must know about leprachians. I'm like, leprachian? What the hell are you talking about? Freaking leprechaun.
Some creature from Game of Thrones, maybe. So Theo looks great. Wishing Theo the best. I realize how many guys we have here.
Theo posted a picture the other day and instantly, that front last bit there, look at that one. No, right, that one. No, right.
Yeah.
Like that one, yeah. Look at that.
Wow.
That's a very, very improved Theo, because I really rate Theo, and I think he's another one that goes under the radar. And the thing is, he's competed so many times, and he's been so. I think he's one of the most consistent pros out there, because he could go in. I don't think has he ever been out of top 6 in any pro show anywhere, and he's literally chased the competition all over the world. I think he's big, he's conditioned, he's symmetrical, he's got great posing. You know, he's kind of like he looks like a teenage bloody men's physique guy in the face. I think he's sensational. I really think he's underrated. I really do. And I think he's and I don't know what this guy has to do to really, you know, because like I said, I didn't realize, like I said to you, that time when he did the what's that pro show in the Caribbean? What's it called? I forgot the name now.
We did the Puerto Rico Pro was one of them.
There was the other one. Anyway, one of those, and he was in the lineup, and he was basically, and it was compulsory of him next to Akim, and Akim was kind of at his biggest, you know, and he was. Then I was like, oh shit! I didn't realize how big Theo was, because he actually, like, he's dealt everything physically. He was carrying as much size, but he kind of. It doesn't quite look. It doesn't look it until you see him next to these other guys. You realize how big he is, because you think, oh, he's just symmetrical. He's an aesthetic guy. He's a big dude, man.
He is. All right, moving right along. Just more guys in the Olympia than I previously thought there were. So Martin, Simpson, Derek. I think we got one more guy who just qualified from Brazil. A little bit of a controversial decision. This is Bruno Santos. I only say controversial because there were a lot of Andrea Presti fans who really wanted him to win this show. That was held in London over the weekend. It
was good lighting, nice lighting. It was a good lineup actually, because it was nice to see some. Also, another thing is, have I got goggles on? Because for me, Enrico Hoffman is better than his placings kind of telling me, because I think he's awesome and I think he's improved his physique, but he's had some pretty, like, was it 5th and 6th he's had so far in these last 2 shows? And I don't think no one's really talking about him. And I thought he looked sensational. Anyway, back to Bruno. AJ was there. He said he had Presti winning because Presti, the finals, he said his condition was insane. But I've got absolutely no arguments for Bruno winning. I think he was really improved from Italy. I thought he had some really nice shots. His back shots were amazing. I'm just glad he didn't tear his lats doing those 150-kilo dumbbell rows.
True.
Don't do it. Can you imagine? The thing is, though, like, I know this is a bit of a long shot, but imagine, like, just after Italy, they've done that for Instagram. And he's doing that, and then something tears or something pops. You know, it's like, guys, don't just you're there to build your physique to get on stage, not to do dumb shit in the gym to get a few likes on Instagram, a bit of attention. Go get the attention from winning shows like this, you know, because if he'd have popped that lat, he wouldn't have won this show. He wouldn't be going to the Olympia, and pretty much his career might even be completely over. So, guys, I think he's good. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he had some nice compulsions. He's got some nice lines. And it's nice to see, and it's exciting to see a nice new face like this at the show. So it's good.
Right. All right, so the list of people who aren't in the Olympia this year is actually pretty long. So I'm going to try to go. I think it says longer because we said some people weren't going to make it this year, and some people it's a matter of not qualifying. Other people, Big Ramy is qualified forever. He's Mr. Olympia 2 times. He can, anytime he wants, he can enter the Mr. Olympia. Just talk to Jay. Jay agrees with me. We'll probably never see him on stage again. His fans seem to think he's going to do the Arnold next year.
I wouldn't be shocked. If I was a betting man and I said, oh, if he competes again, I'd say it's most likely going to be at the Arnold Classic, and he's going to want to go, because the thing is, like, unfortunately, we're kind of left with that 22 Olympia 6th place version of Ramy, which was like, wow. I mean, it was 5th place. I mean, that was a big shock to see the Mr. Olympia coming in, you know, and like the calves and the arms were all atrophied, the lower lats were gone. He just didn't look good. And in fact, I think if it'd been his first Olympia, he might have not even made top 10 because he looked that poor. But I thought he looked sensational just 10 weeks later at the Arnold Classic, and he got fourth. I mean, So I think there's still, because he's 39, 40 now. I think he's just turned 40.
Yep.
I still think he's got one or two good shows left in him. I don't think I honestly, I'd like to see him compete again. But then again, what has he got to prove? He's got those 2 Olympia titles. Is he likely to win another Olympia title? Probably not. I don't know. It's one of those things. The fans want to see him go on and compete, even if he doesn't win. But is that going to do his legacy any good? Is it worth him doing when he's got probably all these other things and wives and businesses and it's oh god, that's so distracting, that backdrop, isn't it?
Yes, it was.
That is annoying. Anyway, sorry. So I think if he's going to do anything, it's going to do the Arnold Classic. But if he doesn't do the Arnold Classic, then no, I don't see him competing again.
Fair enough. And whatever he does, we wish him the very, very best. Yeah,
we love Ramy. I mean, how could he? There's another guy that it's impossible to root against, because he's like, if you've ever met him, and you've met him, I'm saying if anyone's ever met him, he's got such a good vibe about him. He's a lovely guy.
Big teddy bear.
He's what he did, going from like a normal sized guy to was absolutely phenomenal. He's incredible.
So last year, 7th place, Krizo, shoulder. God, if you guys don't have shoulder problems, count yourself blessed. So here he's already started the rehab process. Yeah. Surgery's over. Is it the same surgery you're getting or different?
Yeah, same surgery. Yeah, same surgery. December 10th, I've got mine, and that's why I'm following. I'm messaging him, and I'm watching. I'm following this rehab very, very, very closely.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that he'll be back better than ever. I mean, this is something. If he had ignored this and tried to just keep training through it, the results could have been much, much worse. So
he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. It's just he's probably a little bit pissed off and a bit annoyed with himself. But like I said, he's got years. I mean, how old is he? He's still quite young, isn't he? He's only early 30s.
I think he's only 31 or 32.
This is just a blip. This is just a blip. If you look at all the pros and actually went right through their careers, they've all got something, they had to overcome. And it's, there's people out there with a lot worse. I mean, he could have tore his pec or something like that. But this is relatively, I mean, they told me it's relatively simple surgery, keyhole surgery, but it's, you got a bit of a recovery, but it will recover and he will get better and he'll be fine. And like I said, it's not going to deform the muscle or anything. It's not like a pec tear or a bicep tear. So it's kind of the one, if you are going to tear something or whatever, it's that's the kind of one that you want, because visually it won't impair your physique.
Right. So Hassan Mustafa tried to get to Olympia, did a couple shows, and it just wasn't in the cards. Again, point system, I think he would have made it if we had a point system. Am I not showing it? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Shut up, Maya.
That was your cat.
Yeah, he's just outside.
He's actually a young guy too. He's only in his early 30s. I want to say he's 33, 34. Still has plenty of time to come back better. And
beast, isn't he? I like Hassan. I really rate him. He's just dripping with muscle, isn't he?
Yeah. So this is 2 weeks ago. I don't know if there's an old shot, but yeah, I mean, condition was just the thing that was a little bit lacking. He's got everything. It's just.
But the problem is with these guys, when they've almost got too much muscle, if they're not in condition, they just look like blobs, because the muscle just looks, it's like the muscle looks obese. It's a weird thing. It's almost like there's too much there, unless it's all deeply separated and shredded. So it's like a blessing and a curse all at the same time. Talk about blessing. What's happened to him?
I forgot about Blessing too. My goodness.
Yeah, what happened to Blessing? I mean, I know he's got the kid, but I'm sure he's busy training, and I'm sure we're going to hear something from him soon. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How sometimes, and also, like, he's not someone I thought I'd miss if he went off the radar for 6 months or a year, but I kind of am, I like Blessing. He's a cool dude, but some of his videos are a bit much, but he's a character, and I think the sport needs it, and he's a good guy as well. He's not a shithead,
Yeah, God, I forget about so many people. It's horrible. Yeah, I mean, he didn't do anything this year.
Well, he probably needed it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know the legs need to come up to match the upper body. So if he just came back looking the same proportions and balance, he wasn't going to fare any better. So I think it was the right thing to do for him. Take a year off, and hopefully his legs are going to be improved the next time we see him, and he's going to be one of the top guys.
Maybe tomorrow we're going to see a post, and he says, "Guys, I've been quiet under the radar, but I've moved in with Tom Platz, and he's been training me. He's been hitting me at 5 a.m. legs in some basement in the middle of nowhere, in like Rocky, in the snow, and And twice a week we've been hitting legs, and I can't wait to show the improvements. And if anything, people are going to say I'm bottom heavy now, and we can but dream, So we'll see.
Stranger things have happened in this wide world of sports. The list of guys. So Brett Wilkin took the year off from trying to qualify for the Olympia, but he's going to be in the Legion Sports in a couple weeks.
He was qualified, wasn't he?
Not for this year's Olympia, he wasn't. He qualified for the 2023 Olympia. Did not do it. No, he wasn't qualified for this. So he's doing that thing where he's doing this is happening before the Olympia, but it's qualifying for the 2025 Olympia. He's hoping to get the qualification, and then he's got a whole entire year just to get better and better.
Strategic, isn't it? It's quite. Sometimes it's like, especially when because he's got a family, and maybe he's trying to plan as far in the future as he can. So I think at least, because you can plan the year. If you get a qualification in nice and early as possible, you one hand you run the risk of people kind of forgetting about you and whatever, but then that's on you to really pump out the social media content and to ring Chris Bumstead or Martin Fitzwater and say, look, let's do a load of collab videos. Let's go train together for a week, and then we'll spread that over a couple of months. And you've got social media, and then the Olympia will share it. See, that's what I would. That's if I was him. That's the kind of thing I'd be thinking to do, because like we did with Rafael. Like I can't believe I forgot that Rafael was third at the Arnold Classic this year. But that feels like years ago now. But that's how it is when there's that many shows and that many things to follow, and amateur shows and people turning pro, and it's easy to try and. Especially sometimes when there's shows like successive weeks, sometimes I can't remember who placed what 3 weeks ago, even though I was there. It's like, do you remember? I couldn't remember who won the bloody M-Pro, and I was thinking I was only there 3 weeks ago. Because there's been other shows in the meantime, and you'll kind of it kind of pushes everything else out your brain unless you really, really sit and think about it. And but off the top of your head, sometimes it's hard to recall. With that many events.
100%. So next Zilla Rubiel, where is he?
Yeah, I know.
He didn't get to Olympia, but I don't think he was ready to do the damage at the Olympia that he's capable of yet anyway. I think this is a good thing that he's going to take some time and improve.
That's a naughty shot, isn't it? That's a naughty shot. Oh, that's awesome.
He's a thick man.
Look, I mean, to be honest, these almost look photoshopped. I mean, it's just, he's like, obviously he's gone, he's obviously not in prep anymore. So he's probably just clean food that's just expanded him like that. It's probably just like a bit of a rebound, and he's just tried to catch it, but also stay in really good condition. But Rubiel's like Carlos Thomas Jr. There's someone that maybe don't push him. Goodvito, don't push him. Don't say, oh, right, he's turned pro. He's done well in the pro show. First, I'll say, he's got to do well in the Olympia. Sometimes, let him take their time a little bit, because he's still so young. He's still, young as in young in the game. Like, this is all a very, like, he didn't look anything like this 2 years ago. Like, Chris Cormier told me that in Prague last year, and he says, he's like on about his chest and back, and he said, "Look at this, Giles." He said, he said he didn't even have a chest and back a year and a half ago, or a year ago it was. He says, even in FIBO, it was in April or something. He said 6 months ago, he said, this chest that you're seeing at the Prague show, he said yesterday in the amateurs, he said he had none of that. He said it's been showing him how to train properly and really isolate the muscle and get into he says everything's just exploding overnight. So it's really. So let him. Look at him there. I think he's doing great. He's had was it third and a fourth in his first two pro shows? Yeah,
he's up there with he's already mixing it up with the winners. So
yeah. So don't just because he's not coming in and winning pro shows outright. I think sometimes the young fans, sometimes they maybe don't realize that. Like back in the day, sometimes it take years before these guys would really look at Ronnie. It took Ronnie 6 years from being last place at the Olympia to winning it. So sometimes you need a few years to kind of crack, it's not even about cracking the code or working out to train or to peak properly or who to have as a coach. Sometimes it just takes time
Yeah. I forgot about Goodvito. Yeah. He tried to qualify. He missed it by one spot at Detroit Pro, lost to Martin, but
bloody Martin, spoiling his plans.
Going at Martin, but this kid's the future for sure.
But there's another guy like Carlos, or just these are the new pitchers, 285 pounds.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that. I saw these this morning and it blew my mind, because I was never really, before he made his pro, I was never really like, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't like getting the hype. I was like, I don't get it. And then he did Detroit, and then he, look at that. I kind of think I rate him now. Like I see what the hype is about now. I'm never putting these guys down, but sometimes, people are raving about them, and I'm just like, really? don't get overexcited. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, I mean, he's another one that I think just, it's not a bad thing that he's not in the Olympia this year. It'll be good for him to be sat in the audience, like with guys like Carlos and Rubiel, and to really, really sort of like basically see what's what, because sometimes these guys might be coming in thinking they're going to come in and top 10, top 6, top 3 Olympia, and then they barely get a call out. Sometimes it can discourage them. We've seen guys get knocked back, and it really hurts them mentally, So I think maybe just give this guy time. I mean, he's only late 20s?
Yeah, he's still a kid. He's 27 or 28.
Give him time.
Another youngster, Carlos Thomas Jr. I really wanted to see Carlos in Olympia this year, but he's doing what he needs to do. I thought he looked pretty darn great. Texas last year. What did he do this year? I can't quite remember.
He was he third or fourth to Andrew?
Yeah. So he had a pretty good pro debut. I was very impressed with him. I've been impressed with him for years. Big fan of his physique.
Love him. He's awesome.
Yeah, and he's still got time.
Those arms, Ron. The arms and the legs. I mean, off season, like in t-shirts and the shorts. Imagine like he waddles. His legs are so big. Like like when Rubiel walks, like his legs are kind of like his legs are at an angle, because they're like there's so much muscle on them. But he's another one. Like I don't want to see him rushed. I mean, he's making improvements. He's looking good. And he chose a show that he knew Andrew Jack would be in. And Andrew Jack I don't think any of us knew what Andrew Jack was going to bring at this Texas Pro. I remember the excitement that weekend, messaging you, and I was watching AJ, and everyone was messaging each other like, "Oh my God, have you seen Andrew?" As soon as he walked out, it was like, "Holy shit!" I said, he's moving up at the Olympia, and it's, and he compared well. It's not like Andrew Jack didn't blow Carlos off the stage. Right. So another guy, like I said, plus hold them back a little bit, get some revved up, and get the fire stoked, and then we'll see them. Imagine when you're a guy that's like, that you're going to be a top Olympia guy really in the next couple of years, and then you're at the Olympia and feeling like, it must be such a fiery feeling to feel like, I know when I get up there, I'm going to do damage. So someone like Carlos and Vito and, Rubiel, imagine that feeling when they go home and they're just like super focused because they know they've seen Derek Lunsford variable bicep. We're like, holy shit. Okay, now I realize there's levels to this.
Yeah, I again, there's so many good guys there on the circuit now. I almost forgot about Budesheim. Budesheim would have got in on points because he was top 3, top 2. He had several top 5 places. He did a bunch of shows.
God, how many?
Fantastic. I think he did 5 shows this season.
And he did, but remember all the Egyptians, Mohamed El Imam. We had, who was the other Egyptian that kept doing show? Hostam Mustafa.
Yeah.
The 212 Ahmed Wadani. Like they were just doing show after show after show after show, and they were looking good as well, and they were getting good placings. And you just think they're away from home, away from Europe and stuff, and they're just competing. And I have so much respect for that, because it's so incredible, but you kind of almost feel bad for them that they didn't qualify for the Olympia, So like you said, the point system, I think I'd like to see it come back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we complained that there were too many people in Olympia, and then I realized it was only 2 people per division that were getting in on points. So they weren't the ones holding up the show and making it, 10 hours long.
Yeah. So who would you like to see in the Olympia if you could wave a magic wand?
Oh, magic wand. Carlos Thomas Jr.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Rubiel's great. Obviously, he'd be great addition to the lineup. Carlos, I'm just a big fan of his, and I want to see him at that level. I want to see him shredded with all that mass that he has. I'd love to see it. Yeah. For me, beef stew would be nice, but I think Rubiel and Vlad, I'd like to see them too, because I think Vlad really, really pushed hard, and he came close by getting second to John De La Rosa, wasn't it, in Tampa? Was it Tampa? Yeah. All about that. John didn't get in either.
Yeah. Sorry, no, John got in.
Oh, John did get in. He won that. What did he win?
He won Tampa.
Tampa. My bad, guys. So yeah, that's right. God, I'm starting to get dizzy here with all these guys.
It's just thing is, mate. I mean, it takes a lot. It's like someone's like when you see on the comments, like, how could you know that Tim Budesheim didn't play 6th in this show 4 years ago? It's like, really? You know, can you tell us who won the figure something so at this show 6 years ago? Like we can or whatever, or can you remember what body weight so and so was? It's like there's a lot of data that we have to store, guys. So just give us a break, because people are biased to their own guys that they like. It's like the Nick Walker fans think he should win every single Olympia, and it's like you said, they're not bodybuilding fans, they're Nick Walker fans, and and the same with other guys. Like Hadi fans can't believe that he's lost any show ever. Right. But I kind of get it. I appreciate it. But John, I think I think we'll see a best ever John at the Olympia as well. And it's nice to see there's another guy like Bonac that's come back, and he's actually come back to pretty much almost, he's headed towards his all-time best. It's great.
Yeah, and I apologize because I know John. I've known him for years. I love his physique. I love him I think he's a great guy. So I didn't even have him in my stuff loaded, the clips loaded. So my bad, John.
Yes,
great, fantastic. You and Patrick Tour have done a phenomenal job this season. Really looking forward to seeing you mix it up at the Olympia. Yeah, that was Chicago Pro with Theo, Foda, and John. That was a great top. Did he get top 3? Did Theo get top 3? Oh, that's Jordan Hutchinson.
That's Jordan Hutchinson. Yeah, he was here yesterday. I missed him. Like I said, I had to turn back because he was training up at Ants because I had my training stuff on. I was going to go train arms in the in the cage with the old the old Temple Gym kit.
Yeah, that's right.
And I saw a video this morning of Jordan Hutchinson using the famous one arm Nautilus. Is it Nautilus bicep machine?
Yeah. The Omni bicep.
The Dorian. With all Leroy screaming. I was getting itchy. I took some pre-workout as well, and I never use pre-workout, and I was like, right, I'm gonna go there and have a really good arm session. And my favorite T-shirt on under my Ronnie jacket, which I was gonna wear, and my Gasp hoodie, and I was like, yeah, and I can see all the guys there. Branch is gonna be there, training legs, and I'm gonna feel the atmosphere. And then after half, turn back because I was too sleepy.
So Presti, another guy who valiantly showed up looking phenomenal after getting sick in prep a couple months ago for a show. Rebounded very well. Looked probably the best we've ever seen him at these past 2 shows, the Italy and the London show, the Europa, but just fell short. I mean, there's so many good guys out there that sometimes this happens. We said without the point system, some people are not going to make it this year, and Andrea Presti is definitely a great example of someone who really should be on the Olympia stage, but he didn't quite get it.
He's a big dude, isn't he? Like sometimes you think, like I said, I've said it before, like sometimes you think he's not one of the bigger guys, like Theo, and then you see him next to the big guys, and you're like, oh, holy shit, he's actually physically he's taking up as much room, because things with I remember at the 22 Olympia when we were checking into the Planet Hollywood, and he was there, and I went, oh, Andrea, because he was there with Maro, and I hugged him, and I went, freaking hell, it's like hugging an oak tree. Like he was big, and his body was hard, I was like, whoa, like, you're solid, mate, That's another way I can tell if they're conditioned when I hug them. If they feel squishy, I know. And also with their hand, when you shake their hand, sometimes some of the guys who've got the really spongy like GH hands, and they kind of got the face, they got the cheekbones, but then they got the full face. I can almost guarantee that they won't be in condition. And they get on stage like a couple of days later. So seriously, Mystic Tiger, it's not all magic and mysticism. It's actually based upon actual like markers I use to sort of make my decisions,
Well, you've been around a while. I think you've got your whatever eccentricities you have in discerning who's going to do well.
Nice way to say somebody's weird.
Yeah, there you go. Eccentric.
Oh, you're a total weirdo then, thanks.
So here's our favorite Ukrainian pro, Vlad Sukharuk.
Good shot, that, isn't it?
I thought he looked fantastic at these shows, but again, point system wasn't in place, so second place doesn't matter, third place doesn't matter. But geez, he looked great in Chicago.
He looks like a Mr. Olympia in that shot, doesn't he? When he's walking on. I mean, that is weird. It looks weird without the beard as well.
And here's his off season 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, his off season is like he is awesome, and he's like in condition all year round. He's one of my favorite guys actually, Vlad, as a personality, because he's a real like when I was just to deal with him, just like with interviews and stuff like that. He's a real, and you can once you get to know him and speak to him any length of time, he's a really how can I put this? He's a real I don't want to say good guy, but there's something about him. He's got a really good soul, a good heart,
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm only going to talk about one more guy who's not in the Olympia. Didn't Well, he did try, actually. He did pop up this year. Where is Sergio? Sergio Oliva Jr. We saw him pop in at the Cali Pro. These are from the prep files. He says, from my Trapped in Dubai prep before my show last year, he was 295 in these shots.
Wow. He's tall as well, isn't he? Forget how tall he is. He's 6 foot tall.
Yeah, he's might be over 6 foot. He's a big guy.
Wow. It's awesome.
So, I hope it doesn't look like he's prepping for anything right now from what I've seen in these updates, but we really need to see this. He should be on the Olympia stage, and not because of his name, because of the physique. He's there on his own merits. Look at that shot, the myth shot.
Isn't it crazy to think that? What does it make you? What conclusion do you come to when you think about Hunter Labrada, son of Lee Labrada, Sergio Oliva, son of Sergio Oliva? What does it make you think when you realize when you hear the fact that there's two top legends, Lee Labrada and Sergio, and their sons are competing in the pros? What does it make you think?
Oh, I think it's great because I've been around to see these people when they were at their peak, and I saw these kids as babies. I remember Hunter being pushed around in a stroller at the Olympia years ago, and now look at him now. He's not a baby.
What about the 84 Olympia when it was 84 Olympia when Sergio he just had Sergio's been born and he had him on stage? I mean, literally, like he's been born into this, literally.
That was the Lion King, of course, right? That scene in the beginning where Mufasa holds up Simba. It was just like that.
It's like when people say, "Oh, what does Tyler know about bodybuilding?" You think, hang on a minute, okay, so he's never competed. He's never competed on stage, and he obviously trains. But this guy was born into bodybuilding. Like most of these officials and stuff like that, they got an interest in bodybuilding, and at a certain age, they started judging. It's like this guy's been around bodybuilding his entire life. Like this is all he knows. This is. It was an obvious choice that he was gonna be brought into the whole pro league thing. I mean, wouldn't you if you were like the Manions, you'd be like, come on, mate, you were born into this. This is what you're made for. This is your environment. I just but it makes me laugh when some people say, oh, he's young and it's like this and that, and I'm thinking, mate, this guy was born into this. Don't shut up, man.
I mean, is there?
Fire agrees.
Is there an age that's too old to be a judge? I mean, if you're going to go there, should they kick them out when they're 60 or?
Yeah,
you're too old.
Well, hopefully if they don't turn up to the judges table with a white stick. I think maybe that's when they and the dark glasses. Maybe that's when they should step down.
Fair enough. All right. Well, guys, if I missed anybody, I deeply apologize.
There we go.
You got lost. Yeah, here come the comments. Put them down below. You assholes, you forgot about so-and-so. Well, my bad. I apologize in advance. We still have a few more shows for the Olympia, guys. We'll get to them. Let's talk. Giles, you have this is what Giles has been pulling his hair. Oh, no, you've been just stressing out over pulling his hair.
Pulling my nose hair.
But this is all locked in. The Andrew Jack Tour. All the dates are locked and loaded, ready to go. Looks like you're going to Strength Asylum in Stoke, somewhere. You're going to Birmingham, Wales.
Simon Fans.
Which one is?
Birmingham.
Oh, the Birmingham one. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I haven't been back there since I took Phil there. Phil Heath. That was the first one.
Yeah.
And that was the last time I took. Yeah, the last time I took anyone there. And so we're looking forward to going back there as well because he really looks after, takes us out for nice meals and stuff. And it's a good bodybuilding gym and. It's kind of works out really well on the route and everything. So, and plus Andrew and Simon are friends. They've trained together. Like whenever Andrew's over in the UK, he always goes to Simon. So Simon said, "Oh, absolutely, of course I'm going to have it. Couldn't have Andrew coming in and me not have him. So yeah, put me down for it. So
awesome. So looks like you're going to Glasgow. That's Scotland. And
whoa. Branch Warren said Glasgow.
How do you say it?
Glasgow. No, just forget about the W. Glasgow.
Oh, Glasgow. Well, I don't say Glasgow. Did I say Glasgow?
Glasgow, because Branch Warren said that. I remember when one of the wrestlers, the SmackDown wrestlers, they were training in my gym. Remember the whole story when I showed Triple H my abs when I was competing and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And they said the word Edinburgh.
Is that not right? It's Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
Well, you know what? I'm from Massachusetts, and we have a whole slew of cities that if you saw them printed out, you would not pronounce it the way it looks like Gloucester. We say Gloucester.
Gloucester. Yeah, no, we say Gloucester. No, because I'm in Gloucester next week actually.
Worcester, where Jay Cutler is originally from, that area is Worcester.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, all our towns are either stolen from names of places in UK originally, or they're Indian names from the Indians that were here before we got here?
No originality.
No, none at all. Well, there's Mayo. I'm trying to go to the tour.
Oh, hang on, just subtly just covered on my guns there, mate.
Okay.
So, that was the other day. That was coming back.
There we go. There's the other tour. So, how 3 times Olympian? How many pro wins does she have now? 35.
49. And do you know what, Ron?
What?
14. Because the record was Dexter Jackson. That was 29.
Right.
And at the 2021 Romania, when me and Lauren were doing the live stream, she won the 30th there. And if you remember, me and Lauren just lost our shit. We just went, oh my God. And of course, we were starting the tour there. And we did the UK, Portugal, Romania. No, UK, Spain, and Romania, where we started. Yeah. And obviously, it was really exciting because she won there, And then she finished off competing in Spain. She got second. She got beat by like Evie, Scandau, whatever. And so we're just doing, I think we've got a third date locked in, but it's just like a mini tour because she's doing a guest posing not guest posing. She's doing a seminar in Kazakhstan for Chris Mins.
Oh, wow. And
then she's going to basically, because High Tech are paying a flight, so if she's competing, they'll pay a flight. So Lauren said, well, if we can get you a few seminars, we can do like a little mini tour. So she was like, absolutely, yeah, let's do it. So I think we've got 3 dates.
Nice.
And then she's going to compete in. Likely that I've told Alina. It's highly likely. Alina Pop, I spoke to her yesterday. Yeah. It's highly likely that she's then going to go compete in Romania. So, but this is a warm up. This is a warm up for something much bigger. We're going to do next year. You know what I did with Ronnie, but in July. Yeah. We're going to do something similar with Ashley. So it's a multi-country work because at the end of the day, that the amount of when me and Lauren were doing the live stream in Hungary back in April. You get because obviously to do the live stream, you have to get the competitor sheets from the judges' table. And I said, it's 10 pages. 4 pages were just bikini.
Oof.
So there was 6 height classes in the regional. There was 6 height classes. No, in the novice. And then there was 6 height classes in the open bikini. Then there was masters. Then there was juniors. Then there was it was just so basically what I'm saying is there's a shit ton of bikini ladies in Europe. So we're going to do workshops, work with the pro league promoters in each country. So that's what we're looking to do next year. So this is a nice little reintroduction. This is Lauren's tour, basically. I'm kind of doing what she does for me on the men's, but I'll be in the background, or something I'll be doing the driving, and they can be, talking about hair and makeup and doing stuff. And bikinis, which I'll bore. So I'll just put my 5-finger death punch on or Slipknot on with the headphones. So so we're doing that one, and that is not all because there's more news on more of this to come in the next couple of weeks. So at the moment, I am my work schedule is crazy. So I've stopped drinking red wine every night. And seriously, I'm 3.5 weeks in, and I'm going to do 30 days, and then I'm going to do 90 days because I was waking up slow, and I was kind of taking me an hour to pull myself around. Yeah. Plus, I had some blood test results where I just thought they said, "Oh, there's a couple of things out of whack, and it'll probably be to do with the red wine you're drinking every night." So basically, I'm getting up earlier. I'm starting my day earlier with more energy because I need to kind of cram everything in. So, I'm not complaining. I'm very, very happy. And we're off to Sweden this weekend for the NPC Sweden for Gasp. So me and Lauren are working with Minna Pajulati and Ashkan. And I think Branch is going to jump on the live stream with us as well, because normally when he's there, because he's with them at the moment, I imagine he's not going home. He's gonna jump on the live stream with us as well. So that'd be cool.
That'd be really.
I love all my live stream trips, but the Sweden one, the Friday night. We have a nice dinner, and also Matthew from the Euromuscle show, the expo,
Matthew
the expo guy. He's coming with us.
Oh wow, great!
So he's going to meet us at the airport. We're all flying out together because basically he wants to, because he's trying to collaborate. He's new to the industry, and he's trying to get to know all the promoters and see what work. Because obviously Gas being a huge company, he'd love to have them exhibit at the expo next July.
Yeah.
So it's good. Just like I said, we're just connecting up the good people, and then hopefully good things come from it. So he's going to join us on the dinner, and he's going to be at the show with us, and hopefully have a jolly old tigerific time.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Wow, we have been going and going and going, almost an hour and a half.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, I mean,
I've got 50 people to ring back now.
Yeah, so I very much appreciate you have been so busy putting these tours together. I know it's tough for you to. I know your phone's probably calling you right now. So let's get all you guys. So please subscribe, like, share, ring that bell. Olympia's coming up. We'll be talking more about it in the coming weeks. It's going to be here right before you know it. So thank you so much, Giles. Appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys. And guys, comments below, whether you love us, hate us. Did we miss somebody? Are we a remiss? Let us know what you think. And we'll certainly address it in the next episode, because I'm here to make you guys give you guys what you want. So just feel free to drop a comment. Yeah. All right. That's it, guys. Please join us next time here on Power Hour. Appreciate your viewership and appreciate Giles Tiger. We'll see you right here again next time.